Alright, so during this video, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about submitting your projects to me by first taking a photo of them, cleaning up the photo, and then submitting it to me on Canvas. And so basically, when you first finish a project, so for instance, these are the armhole Prentice panel dart exercises. And I want you to take a picture of this. It's really important for me as your professor that I want to make sure that your center front is squared up with the waist and the neckline. I want to make sure everything is balanced. And if you take a photo for me and it's too dark and I can't see all the details that you've written in here in your marks, or if you take a photo and it's at a weird angle, I'm going to think that you did your project incorrectly because of the photo, not necessarily because of the project. So it's really important. What I'll do is I'll show you the best way to take a photo of your projects and submit it to me so you can get the best grade possible. So in this example, we have the Prentice panel armhole, and this is the backs and the front. Now, the first thing you're thinking is you're probably going to come in and just take a photo of this whole thing, boom, you're done. But for me, that large of a photo for these small of the details is difficult to see on the computer, and I would have to keep zooming in, moving over, zooming out. So what I'm going to have you do is I'm going to have you submit these as this is the front and this is the back, and they'll be separate images. That way what you can do is you can get closer to the image and take a photo of it. And then when I'm looking at it in the computer, I can zoom in and just focus on these two pattern pieces. Now let's talk about taking the actual photo itself. For this example here, basically what I have is there's lights all around the sides of me, and the light is coming in at a side angle. So even if my hand is up here over the project, I'm not casting a shadow down onto the project because the light is coming in sideways. So now obviously when you're going to take a photo, you need to have your project flat on a tabletop, and you're going to bring your phone over to take a picture straight down. So if the light is above you, then your camera is just going to cast a shadow right onto the project. So here I set up an example for how the lighting will probably be inside of your house. So let's imagine that you're going to come in here and take a photo of this. And the downside is now my hands are casting a really hard shadow on top of my image. So something that you would need to do at your house is if you have a lamp on a table and you have a way of like tilting the lamp shade to get light to come in sideways, or if you have some kind of a smaller lighting system, like for instance, these are the lights that we have for when you're sewing, and you might be able to have a light that will come in and at an angle. So then even though I'm floating my phone up above the project, I'm still getting light coming into here at a side angle. So that's what you're looking for to take a good photo of your projects. All right, so here's another example of what not to do. So this would be the case where somebody is laying their project down like on a pillow or on the couch or on their bed, and the fabric print behind these pattern pieces is really distracting because there's all these lines and pictures, and it's hard to tell where your pattern pieces start and stop. Another issue with this is because it's on like a soft bed or a couch or something, your pattern pieces are moving around like mountains or roller coasters. And when I look at the photos of this, it's going to look like you did your draft incorrectly because I'm seeing curves and shadows in places where they shouldn't be. So let's talk about some better options here for using backgrounds. So if you have something like an art book and you turn it over and it's just got a nice, smooth, even color, and once I put my pattern pieces up here with that as my background, I can clearly see all the edges of the pattern paper. And then when you take a photo of this, everything gets separated out nice and clean, and I'm able to just focus on the pattern pieces when I'm grading for you. Something else that's helpful is if you just have a bright piece of colored paper. So any kind of like a crafts, art supplies, paper, construction paper, and you use your pattern pieces like that, then this is really helpful too to be able to see the difference between the outside shapes of your pattern pieces and then having this color background behind it. One other thing that's really beneficial about having, like for instance, a color piece of paper behind this is when I'm coming to set up my camera to take a photo, I can see the outside edges of this piece of paper in my camera. And this lets me know if my camera itself is square with the tabletop. So obviously if I start tilting one direction, the paper doesn't match up with the edges. And I can tell that this is now going to be skewed. As well, if I start tilting the other direction, it's now skewed in the opposite. So it really helps for you to get that piece of paper square inside of your phone, and you're able to look at the edges as well before you come in and take this photo. Now, if you send me photos and your camera is off at a weird angle, what I'm going to do is I'm going to reject the photo and I'm going to have you retake that photo, and I will not grade your project until we have the correct photo. So just make sure to take your time and do this right the very first time that you're doing it. The reason being is it's really important in pattern making that everything is square and even and precise. And I'm not going to know if you did it correct or not if the photo has a weird angle to it. Alright, so I opened up my photo in Photoshop, and I'm going to show you just a couple basic, really quick fixes to get this ready for submitting for your assignment. A couple things here to notice is the photo is sideways, and it's a little bit dark, and there's even kind of some shadows down here, so we're going to fix all of those real quick and simple. So follow my mouse here up to the top. We're going to go to Image, Rotation, Counterclockwise. Now the image got really big. If you want to zoom out, you can always go to View, come down here to Zoom Out. Now we can see our image. First thing I want to do is I just want to make it a little bit brighter, and I want to do this automatically. So I'm going to come over here to Image, Auto. If you click on Auto Contrast, it'll bump up the contrast for you. And if you click on Auto Tone, it's going to help make your paper look nice and white. And I'm going to step back and show you if you just hit Auto Tone first, it does both of those at the same time. So it did contrast as well as the tone all in one shot. So just hit Auto Tone. The last thing I want to do is I want to crop this image. So down here is crop. I hit the letter C for crop, but you can see here I'm hovering over the tool, and it even shows you a preview of how to use it. Basically what I want to do here is I want to grab the corners, come down, and I'm going to crop this from the top down and the bottom up. And since I'm grabbing the corners, I can do the bottom up and the sides. So that's why I'm grabbing the corners instead of just the sides or just the tops. Once I have it where I like it, if you wanted to rotate it just a little bit, I can click out here on the picture that's going to be cut off in the future. I can single click and drag, and I can rotate this if I need to make, for instance, I wanted center front to be square with my crop marks. If you like everything you see, you can click here for accept. You can also just hit enter and it'll crop. If for some reason you don't like what you've done, you can hit stop or reset and it'll just go back to where you were at the beginning. So for me, I like this. I'm going to hit accept. Now the last thing is there's a little bit of a dark space right in this area where there's a shadow from my arm. So what we're going to do is called dodge. So you can see here's the dodge tool. Here's the preview of what it's doing. Now I can take that dodge tool and you can pick your range. Shadows, midtones, highlights. Let's just do midtones. Exposure, keep it kind of low, like 30%. And then you can choose the size. So here you can see the size of the circle. So if I click and drag, that's going to be highlighting that area. It's making it brighter for me. If I need to make that circle bigger or smaller, I can click here so you see the numbers 1040. That's the size, so 1040 pixels. Here I'm making it a smaller circle, and here I'm making it a larger circle. Hardness just means the edges. If you want the edges to be really soft, you want 0 hardness. So this is like a very feathered, soft edges. And if you go to 100%, then it's really sharp, crisp edges, and you don't want that because then you're going to be chasing your tail trying to clean all that up. So you don't want hard edges. So I'm just going to step back. Again, I'll come over here. I'll make this 0 hardness. I'll make the circle fairly large. And then out here, I'm just click, drag, hitting a few spots that needed to be brightened up. And I think we're good to go. The last thing I want to do is I'm going to hit save on this project. So right now it is 1 megabyte, and this is pretty big. It might take you a few seconds to download this, upload this, to work with the file. Also inside of your phone or on your camera, this is going to take up a lot of space on your computer. So we need half of this. So it says quality 8. I'm going to go ahead and drop it down to quality 4. And it'll show me here 378. Let's bump it up just a little bit so I can get closer to 500. So here we have 487. It's pretty close to 500 KB. And that's what you want. That'll be a nice size quality photo. Hit OK, and you're all done. So then what you can do is you can come into assignments. And for instance, during this example, I'm showing you darts number 10. And inside of here, you can see the details. So this is what you are supposed to do. You're supposed to upload. So take 2 photos of your Prentice armhole front and Prentice armhole back. And then you're going to upload the files right here. Again, if you're not sure about what it looks like, you can always right click and open this. And it'll show you a photo of the one that I did from the demonstration in the video. So now you know you can go and find yours. Also, if you want to name yours exactly like mine, you can cut or you can copy this. And then inside of your photo, then you can always paste that and you'll have the exact same name on the outside of your file as what I'm using. So now we can come in here and we can find our Prentice armhole front and back, upload them. Once they are uploaded, then you could submit this and you'll see here that you've submitted the assignment and it's not graded yet. Now once you have submitted your assignments, then you also get a preview here so you can see the front view that we have, and then down here is the back view. So you can always double check that everything is there and everything's good to go. If you need to redo your photos, you can always come back here to New Attempt. And what it'll do is it just now deleted everything, so you have to just start over and go get your new updated photos. So for me, I'm just going to go ahead and get the exact same photos that I already had and put them back in place. And then once you've done that, make sure you hit submit again, and then make sure that the 2 images are back in their place. Now sometimes along with your images, you're going to want to send me a comment. Now I can come in here and it's active and I can leave a comment. So you might say, sorry for late submit. I was at my grandma's. ... Remember. And then I'll have some kind of a reply back for you. And make sure you include send comment. And then I'll see that comment along with your assignment. Now, here's what it looks like for me. So now I'm the professor and I'm looking at you. This is your project. I can see when you submitted it to me. I can see you attempted it twice. So you did an attempt at 307, another attempt here. And then I can see the files and the file names. Now, if these file names are not correct, they don't match back to your assignment, what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave a comment for you to correct your file name. And also, I won't grade your project yet, so I'll leave it ungraded until you have your file names corrected. Also, if there's any other issues with your photo, so for instance, if it's at a weird angle or the background is too distracting, I might leave other comments in there as well. And then I'll also leave comments in here like it looks really good, nice work, so things like that. And sometimes I'll even have other comments like, hey, you forgot your notches, or don't forget to put in the arrows for the grain lines, stuff like that. So there'll be lots of comments. And then sometimes I'll even include a file. So maybe what I'll do is I'll take a screenshot of your artwork, I'll open it up in Illustrator, and I'll draw on top of it. And then I'll have a file for you to look at along with my comments. So be sure to check all of this stuff as you're going through. So then once everything is perfect and it's in its place, I'll come in here and I'll give you your grade for the project. Now the next time that you will come back into your course, you're going to notice here down at grades, there's a little red number 1, and that's showing you that I've graded your project. As well, there's submitted comments. So you can come down here to darts, number 10, and you can see your score was 2 out of 2 possible. And then inside of there, you left a comment and I left a comment. So you can click on there. This was you were saying, hey, sorry for the late submit. And then I say, hey, please correct the file names. And I said, oh yeah, it looks really good. So all of this information is right there inside of your projects. Be sure to always check to see if I left comments and I'm waiting for you to fix something, especially for the projects that have deadlines and due dates, because you'll get minus points if you don't do these fixes on time. All right, so that's it.